Right then, here's a navigation form that I have made already, and as you can see, I've got my form features that are here. If I click on price list, you can see it there, and if I click on the reports tab, I've got my 3 reports showing here. Now, if I want to go up to the 12 to 15 mark area, I need to include the navigation menu that will link automatically to my queries. But the problem with the new navigation menu that Microsoft has put in place on Access 2010 is that it will only link to forms and reports. So you have to be a little bit clever to link to your queries. And what you do is you design a new form, a blank form. And on that blank form, you make some macro buttons that when you click on them will take you to your queries. So here we go. I'm going to go to View and then to Design View. And then my top tab I need to change. Now I'm just going to do this very roughly. I'm just going to type Queries. You know, if you look at your checklist, you should be doing this slightly better. There's my Queries tab. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to make separately a form. So I'm going to go to Create and I'm going to choose Blank Form like this. There it is, a completely blank form. I'm going to go to the design view of the form. Here it is here. I'm just going to stretch this way and that way. I'm going to add in a title for my form, and titles are made through labels, not text boxes. Labels, click on here, and I'm just going to type the word interactive searches. It's a little bit slow because I'm recording it. I'm going to click off, click back on it, and then just make sure that my font is nice and big. And I'm going to make it bold and black. And I'm just going to stretch it this way and then stretch it down a bit. There we go. Like that. Move it back up. And then I'm going to make some buttons that are going to link to my queries. Now, to make buttons, I go to the Design tab. I click on the button with 4x, and I very roughly just make a button because I'm going to change the layout later on. Now, how do we get to our queries? Well, if I click on Miscellaneous, I can select Run Query. If I click on Application, I can quit it. If I click on Report, Form, Record Operation, and Record Navigation. So I want Miscellaneous, and I want to run the query. Press Next. I get a choice of the ones I want to run. I'm going to take the top option. Next. Now, I'm going to change the text, and again, I should really write something a little bit suitable, but I'm just going to do this very quickly to get the idea. Query 1, and press Finish. There we go. I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to carry on and make a couple more. So Miscellaneous, Run Query, Next. Second one, Next. And I'm just going to write Query 2, Next, and Finish. And then finally my third button, like this. Miscellaneous, Run Query, Next. Query 3, I'm going to write Query 3, Next, and Finish. So I've got 3 buttons here which I need to improve the layout and design, so I'm going to highlight the whole lot. Then I'm going to go to Format, increase the font size a little bit, make it bold and black, like that, stretch it out a bit more, and there we go. There are my 3 buttons. I could just move this up a little bit too. Now, do you see the writing is in the middle? If you've got a button that you have quite a bit of a title on it, if I click on that button, in fact, if I select all of the buttons, let me show you, I can go to Design, and I can go to Property Sheet, and if I scroll down to Alignment, it's set at Center. If I click on Center, just out of shot, there's a drop down arrow. If I select Left, I can make mine go left. Now, what I really should do is I should add in a text box here, possibly explaining what happens. So I'm just going to write, explain what happens when you click on the button. Now, the reason why you might want to do this is when this finishes, let me just make this bold and 12 and black. Now, I'm finished with this form. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call it form query. Click OK and close it. So now I'm going to add it to my navigation form, and you know from reading the other or watching the other help sheets, what you do is you type in form query. You make sure it's exactly the same as the name that you have written. Click off. There it is there. Once you've written that in, you can then actually go and change this and it will keep. So I'm going to write key queries. There we go. So if I now go back to home and the normal view, I've now got a tab called queries with my buttons. Now, why did I ask you, or why did I suggest you to write a sentence explaining what happens when you click? Well, if I click on query 2, for example, it appears up here. So can you see the navigation form is still there, but it goes into a small tab. So you may wish to write a little sentence explaining what to do in that case. Now, because you've got a blank form, you could, if you wish, add other features to that blank form. So for example, I could add a button down at the bottom, and I could select form operations, and I could close the form like this. Just going to select text and click finish. Now, if I add a button like that, stretch it out a little bit and go and show you what it looks like, and go to queries. If I press close form, I've just got to save everything. Let's go back and try it again. Apologies. If I go back to my navigation form and click on queries, if I've got a close form button, what it will do is it will actually close the entire navigation menu, which you may want to do if you want to go and access these things here. So there we go. There's quite a long video on how to set up a navigation form, add in a query, a blank form, so that you've got access to your different queries.